So I've recently been watching a lot of videos in relations to ideas for RuneScape and how to make it better and how to not make it shit. And I've thought about some things that while it might not make the main game, it might be cool for leagues or perhaps even for a beta test. I've just been thinking on how strange certain items and effects are. For instance, in my opinion, amulets such as the magic, strength, power, glory, fury, damned are all just horrifically imbalanced. Not terribly when you get down the ladder, but early game amulets, like the first 6-ish, maybe 7 if you count the amulet of accuracy. All of the early game amulets don't make sense. They're either underpowered or too strong for what they worth and present. It just seems rather strange that for so little, you get so much. In PvP, you see the Amulet of Strength far more often than other amulets, especially when you see people fighting in Barrow's armor. The Amulet of the Damned is specifically meant to be used to full effect with Barrow's armor. Why is it that I see people in Dharok using strength amulets, or perhaps even Furies, Tortures, and Rancors, over the Amulet of the Damned? The only armor that I really ever see being used in PvP with the amulet is Karil's. You might get the occasional person in PvP who's PKing in some random Barrow set with the amulet, fair enough, but for the most part, you only see it with Karil's and maybe with Ahrim's, the Amulet of the Damned, for the slight occasional bonus of damage, and the ability to autocast with the Ahrim staff does not make it good enough to use over an occult, which is just a plus 5% damage increase with a plus 12 magic bonus. The Amulet of the Damned is underperforming a strength amulet and probably most other low tier amulets, which is kind of bad. You would think that something like this that's equivalent to a glory, it just seems rather strange that such an amulet is lacking. Why is the Amulet of the Damned poo? Furthermore, certain effects on the Barrow's equipment is also really strange and does not make any sense. The Damned effect itself on some of the armor sets also don't make any sense. I'll give an example. For Dharok's, the Damned effect is there's a chance, a 25% chance, to reflect 15% damage back to your opponent. Why does Dharok have damage reflection when we already have 2 decent forms of damage reflection that are commonly used in PvP? The first one being Vengeance, which reflects 75% of the damage you receive back to your opponent. And we have the Ring of Recoil, which recoils 10% plus 1 back to your opponent. We also have Echo Boots, which just reflects flat plus 1 every time you're damaged. But to have Dharok's with the Amulet of the Damned having a slight chance to reflect 15% damage back to your opponent makes no goddamn sense for Dharok. His whole gimmick is to lose health and to hit hard. Obviously, the lower your health, the riskier it becomes for you to, perish. No one wants to be low health, especially with a Void Waker around. You're beneath 67 HP, you're already at risk. If we're going to make Dharok actually match both his armor set, his gimmick, his Amulet of the Damned effect should also match the risk and reward factor, which is where my idea comes in. So instead of him having a baby ass 15% recoil damage, what will happen is that while in full Dharok, wearing the Amulet of the Damned, while under 41% health points, the wearer will gain a 1% chance to ignore all incoming damage, clear all burns and incoming damage for 9 game ticks, or 5.4 seconds. The effect of the Amulet of the Damned can be chained up to twice, so a maximum of 10.8 seconds, before cooldown, which is the same cooldown as Vengeance. So at 1% health, you'll have a 40% chance to become immune to all damage, clear all incoming damage, and potentially have the effect proc twice. Regardless of this though, it's still a gamble, and it's a losing gamble. You have a 40% chance at 1 health, mind you, to resist the incoming lightning bolt of a Void Waker. Now obviously, when you're in that state, you can haul out your axe and potentially bonk someone for 100+ damage. The sheer rush of adrenaline when you absolutely dumpster your opponent is going to feel magnificent. I guarantee that Dharok bombing and general Dharok PvP would become far more common, and the Amulet of the Damned would actually have a proper use again. In addition to Dharok's, I did cover all of the brothers, so I'm going to share what I think. Yeah, so Ahrim's current set effect gives him a 25% chance to lower an opponent's strength level by 5 points repeatedly. Now, why his set effect is to lower strength is beyond me, because a good mage, especially in the wilderness, is not going to allow their opponent near them. If anything, Ahrim's set effect should lower the range level of an opponent. Probably not by 5. I think by 3 is reasonable. And in equivalence to Karil's, because Karil's effect is also fucking weird, you're not going to be in melee distance in Ahrim's anyways. And if you are, you're not doing very well. Most people are going to pot up. They have super restores, they have combat potions, so they're probably going to be at max strength anyways when they spec you with melee. Again, if you're a good mage, you're never going to be in that position. They're always going to have a gap with your opponent until you go in yourself. It makes more sense for Ahrim's set effect to weaken the range level of an opponent than the strength level, because range is going to be the most common form of damage outside of you taking magic damage. His damned effect is only really important for the extra magic damage, but then again, it's situational. An occult would probably be better, but then again, an occult is like 500k, and a damned amulet is like 33k. It degrades, but it degrades over 10 hours, and if you're not dead in 10 hours, congratulations. I need to go get another task. Guthan is a weird one, because his effect is fine. You heal for the damage you do at a 25% chance. Life Leech of any sort is goated. The effect in it of itself is perfectly fine. The damned effect makes no sense, because it only allows you to overheal for 10 health. A strength amulet is going to be more worth it than the damned, flat out. I don't understand why Guthan's has this effect. Here's an idea. Rather than the life leech effect happening 25% of the time, with an Amulet of the Damned on, it happens 33% of the time. I'm gonna zoom in here. Look at my face. Look at my face. It's that simple. Why does the damned effect only give you 10 extra health? Make it a 1 in 3 chance to heal for the damage you do. Make the life leech better. You don't have to make it that much better. 25% chance, 33% chance. It's an 8% increase, but it's not overpowered. Verac is in the same boat as Guthan's. His damned effect, it's just a prayer boost. And his main set effect is there's a 25% chance to ignore the armor bonus of your opponent and to go through protection prayers. Same thing with Guthan's. With an Amulet of the Damned on, that becomes a 1 in 3 chance. Torag is absolute garbage. His set effect is a 25% chance of lowering the victim's run energy by 20%. So occasionally, Torag will hit you with his 2 hammers, which hit twice now, and you will become slightly more tired. This is useless in PvP and is completely useless and irrelevant in PvM, since monsters don't have run energy. His damned effect is kinda neat. For every 1% health you're missing, your defense increases invisibly by 1%. So think Dharok, but instead of hitting like a tank, you mold into one. Being tanky is cool, but Torag's is garbage, so it's completely irrelevant. Torag's set effect should give him flat armor. At maximum health, you will always have 1 flat armor. So an increment of 5% health, your flat armor goes up to a value of 10 while under 50% health. That doesn't seem that bad of an effect in my mind. It seems pretty reasonable. His damned effect to increase your defense honestly could work with this too. He just becomes a tank. And if that's what Torag is meant to be, he's not meant to do damage, he's meant to soak up damage, make him a tank. I'm flip-floppy with this completely. I am everywhere, but I am doing good. Karil's, I've already yapped a bit about Karil. His main armor effect does not match his utility. Karil's set effect is that there is a 25% chance of lowering the target's agility by 20%. Why? Monsters don't have agility. It is useless in PvM, and it's basically useless in PvP. It's very much similar to Torag's. It doesn't have a proper use. To fix this, you can make his set effect lower the target's magic level by 3 at a 25% chance. You can make it anti-mage. Ahrim is anti-ranger. His damned effect is fine and is perfect as it is. There is a 25% chance of dealing 2 hit splats, with the second hit splat dealing half damage of the first. I find nothing wrong with Karil's damned effect at all. Again, if you switch up the agility draining effect with a magic draining effect, it would be viable in PvP. Barrage requires you to have 94 magic. So at 99 magic, if you get hit twice with the draining effect, you can't barrage anymore. So you're going to have a potion to fix that, or a super restore, which would also give a niche use back to magic potions if you're fighting against Karil. You can really fuck up a mage if they can't cast magic. Overall, though, it's really... the set effect is garbage.